What happens when $2.5 billion vanishes from a nation's coffers? In Iraq, this wasn't just a theoretical question, but the start of an unraveling mystery involving inside jobs, high stakes, and deep corruption that rocked the foundations of an already fragile state. How deep did the deception go? Iraq witnessed the vanishing of $2.5 billion from its coffers, tagged as the largest bank heist in its history. This staggering sum didn't disappear through an act of violent theft, but was siphoned off quietly and methodically, exposing deep-seated vulnerabilities in the nation's financial and regulatory frameworks. At the heart of this complex scheme was Hussein Kanber Agha, a figure who, despite having fled Iraq in 1992, following brutal treatment under Saddam Hussein's regime, remained intricately connected to his homeland's financial veins. In August 2022, a phone call from Iraq's finance minister pulled him back into the eye of a brewing storm. The minister relayed alarming rumors. About 800 billion Iraqi dinars had mysteriously drained from the tax authorities' accounts. Iraq's financial and political systems are complex and often hindered by corruption and inefficiency. The country's bureaucracy is notoriously slow and cumbersome, which makes it easy for corrupt practices to take root and flourish. Within this framework, the tax authority plays a crucial role, but it is also a point of vulnerability due to its dysfunctional operations. The tax authority is responsible for managing large amounts of money, including what is known as unclaimed rebates. These are funds that companies can claim back if they prove they paid more tax than necessary. Companies working in Iraq must pay taxes in advance based on expected profits. If these profits are not realized, they are entitled to a rebate. However, due to excessive red tape and bureaucratic delays, many of these rebates remain unclaimed. Over time, this has resulted in a substantial pool of money just sitting in the accounts, becoming a prime target for theft. This backdrop of a sluggish and corrupt system, coupled with the significant sums of unclaimed rebates, set the stage for the massive financial heist that unfolded. The massive theft was first uncovered through a seemingly routine phone call. Hussein Kanber Agha, a man with a complicated past linked to Iraq, received a critical call from Iraq's finance minister. The minister shared disturbing rumors. Approximately 800 billion Iraqi dinars, roughly equivalent to $600 million, were missing from the tax authorities' accounts. This alarming news prompted immediate action. In response to the crisis, Hussein Kanber Agha helped to assemble a special investigative team composed of skilled accountants and sharp lawyers. This team's primary role was to dive deep into the tax authorities' records, tracing the missing funds' path and uncovering any evidence of foul play. Their expertise in finance and law was crucial for dissecting the complex layers of transactions and legal barriers that obscured the heist details. Together, this team began a meticulous examination of the financial records, aiming to piece together how such a vast sum could vanish without immediate detection. Their investigation was set to unravel the intricate web of deceit woven through the heart of Iraq's financial system. As the investigation got underway, the team started by scrutinizing the bank statements from the tax authorities' accounts. What they found was startling. Not only were there discrepancies in the balances, but the records also showed a baffling disappearance of funds. The opening and closing balances clearly indicated that a huge sum, around 3.7 trillion Iraqi dinars, or $2.5 billion, was missing. To trace where this money had gone, the investigators focused on the transactions recorded during the period in question. They discovered 247 checks had been issued within just 1 year. These checks were all made out to only 5 companies. What was particularly suspicious was that these companies were unknown in the business world, and 3 of them had been registered just before the transactions began. This trail of checks suggested a deliberate scheme to funnel money out of the tax authority and into private hands, using these mysterious companies as intermediaries. The investigators were now tasked with uncovering the identities behind these companies and understanding their role in the broader conspiracy. The evidence was pointing towards a well-orchestrated plan involving multiple layers of deception. As the investigation got underway, the team started by scrutinizing the bank statements from the tax authorities' accounts. What they found was startling. Not only were there discrepancies in the balances, but the records also showed a baffling disappearance of funds. The opening and closing balances clearly indicated that a huge sum, around 3.7 trillion Iraqi dinars, or $2.5 billion, was missing. To trace where this money had gone, the investigators focused on the transactions recorded during the period in question. They discovered 247 checks had been issued within just 1 year. These checks were all made out to only 5 companies. This trail of checks suggested a deliberate scheme to funnel money out of the tax authority and into private hands, using these mysterious companies as intermediaries. The investigators were now tasked with uncovering the identities behind these companies and understanding their role in the broader conspiracy. Among the central figures in this scandal was Noor Zahir, a man whose unassuming appearance masked his deep involvement in the heist. Noor Zahir was adept at navigating Iraq's bureaucratic labyrinth, a skill he exploited to facilitate the movement of billions from the tax authority. His method was subtle yet effective. He leveraged relationships within the system to expedite processes that would normally be mired in delays. By offering bribes and manipulating officials, he ensured that checks were processed rapidly, bypassing the usual bureaucratic hurdles. Biggest Bank played a crucial role in this scheme. As the checks from the tax authority arrived, the bank was responsible for confirming their authenticity before processing the payments. This step, typically a formality, became a critical juncture at which the funds could have been stopped. However, the bank confirmed the checks without due diligence, likely due to the influence exerted by Noor Zahir and his associates. The tax authority itself was complicit, either through the direct involvement of corrupt officials or through negligence that allowed such large transactions to go unchecked. The authority's role was to oversee the flow of funds and ensure the proper allocation, but in this instance, it failed spectacularly. Officials within the tax authority facilitated the issuance of these checks, all without the standard checks and balances that should have caught such glaring anomalies. The method used to move the stolen $2.5 billion showcased both the audacity and the meticulous planning of the culprits. The funds were initially withdrawn in high-value Iraqi dinar notes, primarily the $50,000 dinar bill, which is worth about $35 each. This choice was strategic. Although these were the highest denomination bills available, their physical bulk still made the logistics a challenge. Security vans were employed to transport the massive sums of money. These vans, typically used for moving large amounts of cash discreetly, became instrumental in the heist. They collected the banknotes from Robbery Bank and transported them to various safe houses across Baghdad. This operation required precise coordination to avoid detection at the myriad of security checkpoints throughout the city, suggesting complicity at multiple levels of law enforcement or sophisticated methods of evasion. The distribution of the funds didn't stop at the borders of Iraq. From Baghdad, significant amounts of money were moved internationally. The funds were dispersed across different regional capitals, hinting at a network that extended beyond Iraq. The theft of $2.5 billion had profound repercussions on Iraqi politics, significantly impacting public perception and governmental structure. The heist contributed to the downfall of Prime Minister Mustafa Kadhimi, whose administration was seen as unable to protect the nation's wealth. This perceived weakness paved the way for the rise of the Iranian-backed Fatah alliance, which seized the opportunity to consolidate power by casting itself as a more secure and stable alternative. Public and government reactions were swift and chaotic. The judiciary rushed to take actions, which seemed more designed to reassure the public and international observers rather than to follow thorough legal procedures. Amidst this turmoil, the actual effectiveness of these judicial actions were widely questioned, highlighting the deep-seated issues within Iraq's legal and political frameworks. Central to these political maneuvers was the arrest and subsequent release of Noor Zahir, the man at the center of the heist. Zahir's arrest should have been a straightforward case of justice being served. However, it unfolded amidst allegations of high-level protection and corruption. His release on bail was expedited under questionable circumstances, leading many to speculate that it was influenced by powerful figures within the new Iranian-aligned government. The investigation into Iraq's $2.5 billion heist remains murky, with little public information on the recovery of the stolen funds. What's your point of view of the video? Do let us know in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button for more videos like this.